People, technology, and space create a culture that drives innovation. At the forefront of this, Red Thread, right here on Real Estate Talk Boston. This is Real Estate Talk Boston. I'm Chris Devin. Right now I'm joined by Ken Lambert and Katie Grimes from Red Thread in the Seaport. Thanks for stopping by, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, great to be here.
Yeah.
Now, you're in a really cool space in regards to commercial real estate and how commercial real estate space is evolving. You're seeing some pretty cool trends out there right now.
We are. We're in the midst of a creative revolution, and I think the goal is to be more innovative, and the way that we see that through our client experiences as well as the research that we've done through our partner Steelcase and other partners is that when a company is either relocating or renovating, there's three ways that they can create a creative culture. The first is the people that they hire and that they develop. The second is the technology tools that they have. And the third is the types of spaces that they give their workers to be able to complete the best tasks. So when you're hiring the best and brightest and you're developing their talents, you need to have a sense of purpose and a sense of well-being. But in order to execute that, you need to be able to give them the tools. So maybe that's a digital whiteboard, or maybe that is AV or different technology tools like video conferencing. Just one touch, easy to use, and then being able to give them the spaces to use those things in, right? So that's focus areas, so they can be heads down. It could be spaces where two or more people can share ideas and come together, or maybe it's spontaneous. So they're walking through the work cafe, grabbing lunch or throwing their trash away, or they're just sitting down and they bump into someone and they say, hey, we should get together and have a conversation. So really, again, it's about the people, the technology, and the space. That's ultimately what's going to drive innovation in a creative culture.
Now, when it comes to companies' mindsets, do you see that it's tough for some people to kind of push themselves to this next level of just getting outside of that cubicle mentality?
Yeah. There's the elastic band analogy that we like to use, which is like you're only willing to stretch so far. And I think you can talk a little bit more about it.
We don't, we work with all different types of clients, and we always say, we'll try to give you some of the trends, and we'll tell you some of the trends and try to help you and steer you in some of the new innovations and ways to lay out your space. But we realize that for some CEOs or for some companies or for some industries, they may not want to be at the have the 2020, 2025 office space. Mm-hmm. Some of them do though, and some of them push us, and it's very interesting to be collaborating with those kinds of companies.
And I would also say that you have to collaborate with the thought leaders in commercial real estate. You have some of the best and brightest people, whether they're brokers, owner project managers, construction managers, architect and design firms, workplace strategists like myself. You come together with those thought leaders and who can share those research and those trends of clients' experiences, be able to tour our space, tour other client spaces. That allows you to see how far you're actually willing to stretch.
How does Boston compare, out of curiosity, to other parts of the country when it comes to innovative office design? Typically on the residential side, a lot of things start on the left coast over in California, right, and kind of come this way. Is it the same way in commercial space as well?
We see the same. I think we're always talking about what's happening out in San Fran and Palo Alto area, as well as what's happening in New York, and then we get it as well. But the good news is that with one of our partners, Steelcase, they're a global organization. Mm-hmm. So whatever's happening, whether it be in the Netherlands or it's happening in Chicago, we're hearing about it first. And so we can kind of help our clients and be able to measure what's working well for them, as well as figure out where are they and where do they plan on growing in the future. Maybe the goal is going to be just in the next 2 years, they're going to be opening 5 locations globally. So we can kind of put the barometer on it from there.
Yeah. When it comes to Red Thread in particular, how are you guys pushing people and companies to be innovative in today's market?
So I think the key term that everyone wants to be innovative, and to coincide with that, you have to have a flexible infrastructure. Mm-hmm. And so what that really means, and that's what Red Thread is all about, is allowing companies to create a flexible infrastructure. A flexible infrastructure is any item or component of their office space that will allow for a quick and easy and relatively inexpensive alteration of that space when the business's needs change. And we can all sit here and try to do a great job of laying out the space, and we think, you know, we do a good job and our partners do a good job. But the bottom line is, and most companies will tell you this, some companies will need to change their space in a year, or in less than that. Some companies, it might be 5 years, but they're in the same space. They signed a 7-year or 10-year lease or whatnot. They need to be able to move. So for us at Red Thread offers demountable walls. So basically interior partitions that actually don't attach to the floor or the ceiling permanently. And then they're very easily to alter and retrofit and switch. So we do that all the time. We also have raised access floors. So when you combine the raised access floors, which allows you to run all types of MEP and distribution and data under the floor with walls that can move, then in a weekend you can totally change your space. And that's what a lot of these, you know, whether it's biopharma or even universities or colleges, that's what they are asking for. Other types of businesses that they can't afford a 30-day renovation in their space. They need to be done in 3 or 4 days while people are working, and we'll go in there and work second, third shift to change their space.
And it needs to be cost effective too, you know, and that's the best way to do it.
I was just going to say, let alone the costs of these build outs. I've gone through them on my end a couple times now, and A, it takes a lot of time, B, a lot of money goes into it where you can make, it sounds like, an investment up front and kind of play within what you have. That's really cool.
And that's why I was talking about getting the thought leaders together from commercial real estate, whether it's that getting your team together, right? Whether it's brokers, architects, hiring out your OPM, construction manager. You get us all in the same room together. Even before you sign the lease, you are now having all of that information at your exposure. And then that way you can talk about what's the project schedule? What are the budgets that we need to be considerate of? And then that way your team can talk about, hey, we've got to be mindful that manufacturer is running a little late, or you know, the cost is going to be X for making this change. And so when you get us all in a room together, all the bright ideas are starting to come together. And we think that's one of the best ways to be able to work with one another and be able to make sure that a client's project is on time and under budget.
And it sounds like for a C-level team to bring you guys on as truly a partner, you're going to work with the company to make sure that they stay current, stay ahead of the game, and plan for whatever infrastructure changes they're going to need in the future. And that's one less thing that they have to deal with on their plate.
Absolutely. And one of the things is, like you just said earlier, that some companies, they're leery if they had the office space of 35 years ago and all private offices, et cetera, and now they see our space and they wonder, can their employees actually, go make that switch, and can they, those C-suite executives, make that switch? What we'll do, and we've done for many companies, we work on the budgets early on to make sure that it's something that fits within their upfront, capital budget, but also we do mock-ups. And we'll do pilot programs where, a large space, maybe it's in the suburbs or maybe it's right in Boston, if before they move to a new space, we will do a pilot project with them and maybe only work on 5,000 square feet of our systems and our walls and our workstations and raised floors maybe, and then see how they like it and let them fine tune it. We will work with them to fine tune it. That way when they move, let's say they're moving downtown or they're moving to Cambridge, we have a real plan that they can feel confident in. And that's a big part of what we do.
And when you move in on day 2, which is we call the day after you move in, there are things you're going to change. You're going to do the best due diligence that you can upfront and early to make sure that your employees are really enjoying the space and are able to use the technologies. But you're going to need training on how to use those technology tools. You're going to need an understanding of why is that room just by itself? Oh, well, that's heads down focus area. That's a place you go in and you can just bang out your expenses or whatever it is you need to do. And what we always encourage our clients is we're not just with you on day 1 when you move in, but encouraging you we keep in touch with you on day 2 as well as with the partners. So if there's changes that need to be made and it aligns with the construction schedule and our construction manager, then we're in constant communication with them and saying, okay, well, let's modify it. Let's add some sound masking. It does seem to be a little bit quiet in this space. And those are simple changes that you can make that are cost effective too.
Mm-hmm. Very cool stuff. Now, just out of curiosity, what are some of the hottest trends when it comes to new office space and what people are really taking to right now?
I think it's a mix of both open and collaborative spaces. So it's similar to what I described earlier. You've got to be able, when you're going to this open and collaborative mentality, which means 2 or more people are getting together to share ideas. The trend used to be that that's where we wanted to go, right? Because that meant that we were more innovative. The problem with that is you need a balance. You need a mix of both private and collaborative spaces. So that way you give people the chance to work the way that they want to be working.
Yeah, many people have complained in the open office environment that companies they went too far to that extreme, and they reduced the square footage per person per employee. That was one of the goals, right, in some of the open office environments. But the problem is the people that work there, a lot of them didn't like it because they couldn't focus, but also they could hear what the person 10 feet away was saying on the phone, and there was no place to make a private phone call, and there was no place to do that kind of work that prior you would do in an enclosed office. So you have to have different types of spaces, and we work on that with the architects and the owners up front.
Yeah. And I would also say incorporating technology as well. So making it easy to use. We're seeing that one of the trends will be that AV will become more of a service. It'll be something similar to, a cell phone, AT&T or Verizon, where you pay a monthly fee and you're kind of switching that device out or that service out whenever you need it. We're seeing that's going to be happening because if we think about where Apple went 10 years ago with the iPhone, it has completely revolutionized the way that we are creative and the way that we are innovative, the way that we work now. And AV and technology are going to play a major role in how we use these spaces, as Ken said, but also how our people can be really the best and brightest and really work towards a sense of purpose.
Very cool information. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Now, if they'd like to connect with you directly in regards to taking their office space to the next level, what's the best way to do that?
I think a good way is to go to our website, red-thread.com. Also, we are right in the Seaport in Boston, and we have tours and companies coming in every day to really understand. The website is excellent, but if you're interested, please contact Katie or myself to do a quick tour of our facility and the showroom. It really will show you the breadth of what we can do.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff,
Great.
guys. Thank you for stopping
Thank you.
by. Remember, red-thread.com.